Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to XRP once again. Thank you for support. Okay, be the CoinsKid crew. So the crystal ball indicator is showing that we've got a wall of money coming into this market. Whether or not it stands true, time will tell. But so far it is uncanny how it's adhering to it. It's just respecting it so far, isn't it? We've got liquidity leaving the market in December, and we've got it returning sort of mid to late summer basically. So it's still trending upwards. I'll look at that in the charts with you in a moment. But if you are looking for the more macro outlook on this market and more macro viewpoint, then definitely tune into the Bitcoin video. XRP, I'll jump into the charts in a moment with you, but on the micro, there's not really a trade here. On the micro, it's neutral at the moment, not really seeing any kind of setup, other than the fact that we ran up in 5 and we're back testing the key level support, which is your bull market support band. So technically, you're bullish. You are 5.6% above a bull market support band, which currently sits at $2.21. So I would not put it past XRP rolling over back to that level of support to back test, which is typically what we see in uptrends. We are forming higher highs and higher lows for XRP at the moment off that April low, which is technically a nice little bullish structure that we need to see obviously in an uptrend. So we'll zoom in a moment, but on the macro, there's a couple of coins in the top 10 I would not necessarily be looking to buy because of the macro signal that I'm seeing. One is Bitcoin pushing into the sell warning, and obviously Tron pushing into the sell warning. Now, what I tend to look for, and this is something I was looking for a few weeks ago, which is why I created this index for you, is macro buy signals. And there was one on Ethereum a few weeks ago. It was in the XRP video I did relay to you. I'm buying Ethereum here because we've got the macro buy signal on the index. Equally, if we take a look at the weekly time frame for Ethereum, really oversold down there, okay, with the 1.618 and 5 waves to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, okay, that lost this low. So for me, Ethereum was a buy at that particular range, and I relayed that to you. And one of the key data points I was looking at was a macro signal was a buy, okay. So it wasn't printing a buy for XRP, it was printing a buy for Ethereum. Because if we take a look at XRP on the weekly, way back when in July, this is where it's creating a buy signal. Go back to the videos. I said to you, there's a buy signal. I'm buying XRP. We've got the 1.618 coming down. We've got the 5 waves of death. We came back and back tested this God candle breakout from March 2023. Beautiful bids filled, came up in a 1-2, broke out a vertical 3, and I think we've been in some kind of weird wave 4 ever since. So there's no bias on this channel. But if we take a look at this chart right now for XRP, put it on log, you can clearly see they've got all this range here. So if I drop a horizontal line in for XRP right now, okay, you can clearly see, look at all this range. So you've got resistance, support for a bit, drop down below, became resistance again, get that knob on, resistance, came back above, yay, no, resistance, and eventually we've took it out. We've broke out this range right now. So for me, there's no bias here, but I think if we start to break to the upside and we have a whopping bear market that comes back down, I actually think that this could be the sweet spot of support for XRP because it was resistance for so long, struggled to get back above it. So any kind of move to the upside, it could actually be the bear market projection around about 57 to 50 cents, where this previous level of resistance in the future will become a massive leg of support for the next leg up in the next bull market here for XRP. So I do think there's a potential we've got a final 5th wave missing here for XRP, and there's many confluencing factors across the board that I'm looking at for that particular scenario to play out. So again, if you're looking for that scenario, do jump into the Bitcoin video. There's more of a macro outlook, but on XRP what I'm looking for is characteristics of the top, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is right now. So let's dive into the XRP chart. But if you are looking for macro buy signals, just like the one we saw in Ethereum, that's absolutely rocketed over 100% since that buy signal, come to the index, this little filter here, filter macro signals, click buy, and you will see there are still 170 opportunities in this market for altcoins to come up in this potential breakout for Bitcoin that we're looking at over the next few months. Okay, so let's dive into the XRP chart right now to see what we can see. So looking at XRP on the daily time frame, one thing that hoodwinked me way back when was this Trump pump. Okay, when we broke out just here, we did begin to break this lower high structure, and we have done something very similar here. But one thing I've been looking for in all of this move from the lows, from this low, it's just really simple. It's a 5 wave move, and we have actually seen it right now. Some kind of 1 into a 2 into a 3 into a 4 into a 5. So we see some kind of 5 wave leg right there. And right now what we may be experiencing is a wave 2 pullback like this. It comes back, holds support and breaks out. So you've got some kind of 1 into a 2 into a breakout, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth, that gets us up to these targets. Equally, to accompany the confluence of the 1.272 at $4.15 being met would be an inverse head and shoulders pattern there. And this is something I relayed to you. So from this low high here, this resistance, we've come down a left shoulder. There's your head basically. There's the same resistance on this neckline as anticipated. We've got the resistance, we're coming back forming a right shoulder, and again this can retrace all the way down without losing that low, and you know, still create a right shoulder, and then boom, we break that resistance just there. That's an inverse head and shoulders pattern. That's a reversal pattern that we see at the bottom of corrections, something like this. Okay, an inverse head and shoulders pattern that does something like that, breaks out back to see you later. So if that is the case, what we've got to do is just be patient. If XRP can start to take out $2.59, I think we've got a massive trade in front of us to 1.272 at $4.15. Sorry. Now if you take a look at the technical target from the neckline all the way to the head, you drop it on your neckline, look at the confluence right now that if we do start to take that resistance out at $2.59, we are looking at all-time highs here for XRP. Price discovery to the 1.272 at minimal at $4.15, which would be absolutely amazing, because for anyone that's been with the channel for a very long time, they will know and remember a video I made way back here in March of 2024. We've seen 5 waves up in the likes of Bitcoin, you know, VeChain, Cardano, so on and so forth. So at this point I was flipping bearish, and what we got for XRP is a 3-wave move, a corrective move, not a 5-wave move. Once we started to cool down like this, once we lost this, we was looking at this beautiful buy zone around about 0.40 cents. Look at that buy zone on that God candle back test. So I made a video called XRP 40 cents to $4, and we may be on the cusp of that right now, from 40 cents to $4.15. Amazing. So I'm looking at that being held basically in this reversal pattern. You got your left shoulder, your head coming back in the right shoulder. If we can hold this low, the April low at $1.64, we've got a chance here that we may see a break towards that 1.272 at $4.15. Are there any other clues to this particular scenario playing out? There is. It's a crystal ball. Drop it into your charts right now, and you can clearly see liquidity left the market in December, came down like this, got this false high, this break high, sorry, retracement, which is a B wave. XRP was putting in a bull trap, which is a B wave high, 3-wave move up, and then boom, we bottom down there, and right now this is taking off in space, and right now we're looking at this catch up for XRP and Bitcoin liquidity coming back into the market across the board. So for me at the minute, I think that that's your bull market support. Break down below that, obviously I'm wrong. At that point I'll just put bids in for XRP again on this neckline wherever it is in time if we lose this low. But that is currently, although a lot of people say I'm moon tar biased or whatever, that is currently not my primary at the moment. But obviously I've always got to expect the unexpected. But you know what I respect, whenever I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves up, you know, that could potentially be the start of an impulsive move. Then you go through some kind of wave 2 correction that comes back. Oh no, it's going to 0, hold the low from which you've come, then you break bull. And there may be an inverse head and shoulders pattern, a reversal pattern, and the reversal patterns are what I always look for, you know, confirmation of bottoms basically. So run into resistance, falling back to support. If this breaks, I do think we could see the 1.272 at $4.15 very, very soon, you know, and we're just catching up with liquidity, and the crystal ball is the key. So what I'm looking for the crystal ball in time is to do something like it did there, where liquidity leaves the market. If it leaves at any point, you know, that's it, you know, that's the key point to jump ship basically for XRP going forward. And at that point, what I think we've seen for XRP from the lows in July last year is a 1 into a 2 into a 3, expanded fat wave 4, and a final 5th wave to the upside, and then boom, you know, you got a macro correction, a wave 4 correction before a final 5th wave further down the line. Hope you enjoyed that update. Stay stay tuned. If you are looking to trade XRP, just be patient. I'll try and keep you updated as best I can, but I do have some bids at $1.92 on L Bank right now, because it would make sense to come back like this. There's your left shoulder into the 236, you come and made your head. If you do get some kind of parity with the left shoulder, you could be looking at 192. A lot of people start to get shaken out. At that point, turn around, break this range at 259. You're up here at a 1.272 at $4.15. Hope you understand update. Stay tuned. Take care everyone. Back soon with an update on XRP. Bye bye.